don't wanna hide, but I like my black shadow.
After Biarritz, we continue to ride the wave as we are going to introduce you to two side resorts, Cap Ferret and Lacanau Ocean. These are two cities that provide direct access to the beaches of the Atlantic Ocean. They are emblematic places for surf enthusiasts, ocean lovers, and those who enjoy long stretches of fine sandy beaches. Arriving at Cap Ferret, we head towards the majestic beaches. We decide to stop at the Horizon Beach for a moment of relaxation. Between sky and ocean, we immerse ourselves in a world of tranquility and preserved beauty.
It feels right to let the darkness roll in like a dream. A sunbeam touches shadows.
One can access it via a wooden walkway on the sand, and it's also possible to come through the forest trail by bike or on foot. In the shade of majestic pine forests, Trucvert Beach unfolds its fine sand for kilometers, inviting visitors to a unique seaside getaway. The beach is supervised, and swimming is only allowed in designated areas, as some can be dangerous. Surfing can be practiced on this beach.
I wanna feel the rain on my face. To smile through the tears is what makes me real.
After this spotting break, we head towards the end of the Cap Ferret Peninsula. There is a sensation of reaching the end of the world. From there, we are fortunate to have a 180 degrees view of the Dune du Pilat, which is the largest sand dune in Europe, but that will be for the next episode. We also observe the Banc d'Arguin, which continuously changes shape with the winds and marine currents. There is a multitude of bird nests in the sand, which is why it's essential not to enter the integrated protection zone. One can spot stern kogek, small seagulls with black heads, or the pied oyster catcher. Finally, we admire the Atlantic Ocean and the basin. We now head back to the village, and we decide to visit the lighthouse of Cap Ferret, located in a wooded park of 5 hectares. The first lighthouse was put into service in 1840, but the one we see dates back to 1947, as the Germans has blown up the original lighthouse in August 1944 before retreating. The Cap Ferret lighthouse is a major element of the peninsula's landscape. It has been listed as a historical monument since 2009. Beyond its technical functions, it's also an architectural monument that attracts many visitors each year, intrigued by what it symbolizes and what it offers. A magnificent panorama of land and water at over 57 meters altitude. It signals the entrance to the Bassin d'Arcachon from the ocean and contributes to maritime safety with a luminous range of 50 kilometers. In the lower gallery, there are two large original mosaics, one from the Bassine d'Arcachon and the other of Cap Ferret, presenting the territory anchored by the lighthouse. The two bronze and plaster busts are those of Augustin Fresnel, the inventor of the lens, and Mr. Botan-Beaupré, a hydrographic engineer and former director of lighthouses and beacons. And here we go for the ascent of the 258 steps. Arriving at the top, we have a 360-degree view, and we rediscover from above the Banc d'Arguin, the Bird Island, the Dune du Pilat, and the Atlantic Ocean. In short, an exceptional panorama at the top of the lighthouse. Descending, we discover different interactive spaces, presenting the architecture of the building and its technical operation through 3D animations, maps locating the world's iconic lighthouses, as well as the history of the lighthouse and the presentation of navigation tools. Before heading to the Oyster District, we visit the blockhouse of the lighthouse, which was built in 1943 to shelter 19 men and equipment. Fleeing the advance of the Allied troops, the German soldiers left the building on August 20, 1944. From 1944 to 1947, it served as a storage warehouse for the construction of the new lighthouse. We conclude our visit to Cap Ferret by heading towards the village and passing by the parish church Notre-Dame-les-Flots, which was erected in 1893.
I have all the reasons to hate him, but you know what? I love him, so I'll tell you. It goes like this.
At the beginning of the 20th century, Cap Ferret was still largely unknown and untouched land. This place was described as a country without land, without stones, without roads, nothing but sand, transparent water, pine forests, and plank huts.
What are you doing here? Go away.
During the beautiful season, these huts isolated from the world sheltered a few fishermen who came from the depths of the Bassine d'Arcachon.
Stop doing nothing.
But from the 1860s, the growth of oyster farming in the Bassine d'Arcachon led to the creation of numerous oyster huts to meet the ever-growing demand of oysters. On the peninsula, there are 500 traditional oyster huts scattered across about 10 districts. Although historically present in the wild, in the Bassine d'Arcachon, oyster cultivation truly began in 1849 with the creation of the first imperial parks. Towards the end of the 19th century, the accidental introduction of the Crassostera angulata, a variety of Portuguese hollow oyster, gradually replaced the gravette, a variety of naturally occurring flat oyster in the basin.
I hate you. Don't leave me.
In the late 1960s, the oyster farming industry in the Bassine d'Arcachon experienced its most significant crisis, witnessing the complete decimation of oysters in the area, both gravette and Portuguese varieties. Fortunately, the importation of the Crassostrea gigas from Japan helped restore oyster cultivation in the basin, and this variety currently represents the entirety of oyster farming in the Bassine d'Arcachon.
You blame me. You disgust me. You fascinate me.
Relatively recent in geological terms, around 3,000 years, The Cap Ferret Peninsula gets its name from the Gascon expression loup capéré, which means the iron point. This name is linked to the rust-colored streaks that can sometimes be observed on the beach when the water present in the subsoil flows to the ocean. In 1908, 44 hectares were auctioned and the first inhabitants of Cap Ferret arrived. In 1919, an additional 493 hectares were sold and the development of the peninsula began. From the 1950s, development in the northern part of the peninsula accelerated due to the influx of people from Bordeaux who could reach it thanks to the recently built road. It wasn't until the 1960s that Cap Ferret saw its attractiveness explode. Since then, several tens of thousands of seasonal tourists visit the villages of the peninsula every year.
I forgive you, 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 I forgive you.
The Bird Island could be either an old sandbank or the remains of a high dune shaped by wind and marine currents with its base settling in its current location over time. Its surface area varies with the tide. It's on an average about 300 hectares at high tide and over 3,000 hectares at low tide. The island has 53 huts, including 2 chunky huts. There are approximately 60 species of birds that frequent the island depending on the seasons, such as sandpipers, avocets, ducks, and laughing gulls. The island has been classified as a protected natural site since 2008. Between the majestic waves of the Atlantic Ocean and the endless horizons of the land forests, Lacanau reveals itself as a paradise for nature lovers and water sports enthusiasts. From seasoned surfers to families seeking peaceful days on the beach, these 2 destinations offer a unique experience. The atmosphere in this town feels like a vacation. And we spot a terrace bar with a view of the ocean, unable to resist the temptation to have a drink there.
And nothing is going your way. Let's just see how bad this gets. I'm 30-something now.
We then head to relax a bit on the beach and go for a swim.
While I'm just passed out drunk, and I can't even talk. I just wanna be 18 again. What's gonna weigh you down when all you do is hang out with your friends? I just wanna feel 18 again. Why'd it have to change?
After this moment of relaxation, we stroll along the seaside where there is a summer market.
Going the right way, or where I'm supposed to be. I guess I'll fuck it up. I just wanna be 18 again. What's gonna weigh you down when all you do
We continue our walk and enjoy street concerts. The town is a seaside resort that was established in the early 20th century and has been attracting vacationers since its inception. art houses, elegant villas, built in the characteristic architectural style of the Belle Époque, as evidenced by old photos. With its 15 kilometers of sandy beaches, Lacanau Ocean offers a well-equipped seafront, supervised beaches conducive to surfing, making the ocean an attractive destination. The village is nestled in the heart of the vast forest domain of 13,000 hectares, preserved and maintained. One can explore the different villages that make up the site between the city, the lake and the ocean. The flourishing tourist activity has led to the development of quality infrastructure. Sports activities take center stage with the multitude of activities offered at the ocean and the lake, including surfing, sailing and cycling. Thanks to an extensive network of over 100 kilometers of bike paths and hiking trails through the forest, you can discover preserved wild nature infused with the scent of pines. And we end our evening at Lake Lacanau with a fireworks show. See you soon for new discoveries.